Well, we'll see how today goes with having this video stream. I streamed a video Friday, I think it was Friday, and I got a notice that someone had banned my video on a ton of channels, something about some kind of copyright infringement. And I thought, copyright infringement on what? Like, I was totally confused. And then it shows you like the first 6 seconds or 8 seconds of your video, and I thought, for the bumper, I don't understand, because it's my logo, right? So I don't know what the deal is with that. So I tried to contest the removal of the video from the channel, but you have no idea, who's going to decide, what's going to decide, anything like that. So today's interesting. I want to talk about professional courtesy a little bit. So, every now and then I jump on these lives and I just, start yapping, and sometimes it's truly inspired. Other times it's more like an exercise for me to clean my head. And I was thinking about professional courtesies. Now, I've already gone live before, and I've told you about the repair center in town. There's a repair center in my town where they don't charge people for diagnostics. And we took our car in there, and they gave us a bad bill of health, right? Like, this car's in bad shape. And they said, you're better off just to get rid of it and buy another car. I totally get that. I get that. It's an opinion, right? But I said, well, how much do I owe you for diagnostics? And they said, oh, no, we don't charge for diagnostics. I have 20 years in the automotive industry, and that short-circuited my brain. What do you mean you don't charge for diagnostics? We don't charge for diagnostics. We only charge for the work we do. And we've taken other vehicles there, and they've given us diagnostics, and they know that I'm a do-it-yourselfer kind of guy. Like, they know. I flat out told them, like, hey, please check the charging system. If it's an alternator, I'm going to replace the alternator. Like, just told them, like, if it's an alternator, I'm going to replace the alternator. They call me back. They go, yeah, you were right. It's the alternator. I go, okay, I'll get one on order. And then I go to pick up the car, and I go, how much can I give you to, for confirming that diagnosis? And they go, oh, nothing. We don't charge for diagnostics. So one time, because if you follow this channel, you know that I like to cook, I made a homemade pastrami. And so I made them some hot pastrami and Swiss sandwiches for lunch. Just took them a giant picnic of food for the whole shop. Now, some would say that cost more than the diagnostic would have cost. But it's the courtesy. It's recognizing the humanity in what they're doing, right? So their skill set's diagnosing cars. My skill set is making a wonderful lunch. So that's what I did. Now, I also make websites. So I made them a website. I said, let's just make you a website, and I'll make the website for free. If you can cover the cost of hosting, I can make the website. And went ahead and made them a website. Fast forward, like, now it's a year later. So it's a year later. Neighbor down the street got his tree removed a couple months ago. I don't remember exactly when. A couple months ago. We went down, and we have a dead tree in the backyard. Big pine tree, leans over the house, leans over my internet line. But it's a big dead tree. It's got to come down. And so we go down, and we're, now I've talked up other tree people. There's been other tree people that came through the neighborhood, $4,000 to take down this tree, $3,800 to take down that tree, not for nothing. I'm not looking to spend $4,000 or $5,000. So, Run Adam Run is with us today. 1 year later. Yes, 1 year later. So a neighbor down the street is getting a tree removed, and it's a dude. Like, it's not a team. It's not a, it's not a boom truck and hydraulics and all this stuff. It's a dude, hey, James is with us too. Good to see you, James and Adam. So, dude shows up, like, with not a minivan, but he has like a truck and a trailer and a chainsaw, and he cuts down the tree. So we go down and we talk this guy up. Well, this guy says, we say, hey, would you like to take down that pine tree? He says, man, I like climbing trees. Okay, now I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm I'm excited about what I do. When I talk to people about the internet and building websites and stuff like that, I'm excited about what I do. And maybe I seem childish sometimes. Maybe I seem uh, overly excited, right? Like maybe because when I start talking to people about their businesses and how to grow a business, I get really impassioned by it. So I get it, right? But he was like, he looked at the tree and he goes, "Man, I'd like to climb that tree." Okay, I thought that was weird. You're a grown man, son. What are you talking about? But he's like, "Man, I'd like to climb that tree." And I said, "Okay." I said, "Look, we got to take the tree down." I said, "And it's near the house, and I'm concerned. And do you have it?" Yeah, I got insurance. This, that, and the other thing. I'll take the tree. He goes, "Let me give you a quote, and then if it sounds good to you, I'll do it. And if it's not good for you, I understand." And then he says, "For $800, I'll cut down the tree. For $1,300, I'll cut down the tree and I'll take all the refuse away." And so Heidi and I, we weren't sure, right? We were like, "Oh my God, that's," because now you're in this weird situation where you're like, "That's too cheap. That's too cheap." If if the team of dudes came with the trucks and all the nonsense to take down the neighbor's tree across the street and it was $5,000, how is this guy going to take down a bigger tree in my backyard next to the house for $1,300? And so we hesitated a little bit, but then we called him back and we said, "Hey, we'd like to hire you to do this tree." And he said, "Man, I'll be there tomorrow." Okay, are you sure you have insurance? Um, so we hired him. I paid him. This man climbs. It's 100 degrees outside. This man's up in the tree whacking stuff down. The skill that I watched him do this with was phenomenal. He's tying off branches. He's got all this rigging everywhere, ropes and stuff, and he's cut. So basically, what he does is he starts cutting the branches from the bottom to the top, and he almost makes a ladder out of the tree, and he climbs up the ladder that he just made, right, cutting off the branches and leaving steps, and he goes up and then he ties off sections of the tree, and he cuts off sections of the tree and gently lowers them down. And I'm like, why are you worried about gently lowering the tree? Because I am not a very finicky person, right? He says, "Well, I don't want to leave a bunch of divots in your yard. I don't want to leave holes. I don't want to." So we try to do everything gently. And then he was talking about taking the branches and putting them on a tarp and dragging that tarp to his trailer to get rid of the branches. I was like, "Dude, just back your trailer up to the tree and load it up." And I'm like, "I'll help you." I'm like, "It's too hot outside. You shouldn't be doing all this work this hot. Can I get you some water?" He's, "Nah, I bring my own Pedialyte." Like the dude's totally self-sufficient, doesn't need my help. Um, Very gregarious, very friendly, but shy at the same time. Shy, humble, but really fun. Like just a fun dude. He's having a good time. I know I'm talking this up a lot, but let me tell you why. This guy, the price is right. The attitude is right. The work is right. You know what's not right? What's not right is he has no idea how the internet works. He has no idea how to promote his business. He has no idea how to, other than referrals, to get to the next thing. And he's a little bit shy, right? It's like he didn't follow up with us to sell us taking this tree down. We had to call him and say, "Hey, will you still come and take down this tree?" Since he's been at my property in the last 2 days, I've gotten him another customer. So we've got him, another $3,000 worth of work right here on the street. So here's what I did. Wow, I sure am talking in circles today. I apologize. Uh, DeBose Tree Service. Share. Okay. And add to scene. I made him a website. Surprise, right? So when he shows up today to pick up some tree stumps and some stuff, we're going to just dive in and I'm going to say, "Hey, dude, look. Oh, yeah, it helps when advance. I'm waiting for the SSL certificate to populate. It's going to take like another 20 minutes. There we go. So we'll just stay on this page. So, expert tree removal services you can trust. And that's him right there. I took his picture while he was working in the tree. I took a few pictures while he was working on the tree, and then basically just built this website. So he doesn't know about it yet. Okay. Um, that's another fun thing. So today, when he comes to pick up a couple of things, right? I'm going to hit him with, hey, here's your new email address. Here's your email, your password to your email. Here's your new website. And as a tip, because I'm trying to think like, do I tip him? I already paid him. It's his business. Do I tip him? I feel like I should tip him. He's working his butt off for what I consider to be not a lot of money. Um, so anyway, I decided I'm going to give him his business digitally. So I made the website. It's like 5 pages. It's a standard 5 page brochure website. I could put in appointment tools. I could put in, like, I could add a bunch of like automations, and I could, like, hey, you could have people pay you through the website. Um, all that's available. But when you're working with somebody that doesn't have a website at all, and you're surprising them with their own website, you don't want to put a bunch of stuff in there, right? Because like he doesn't even know how to use the stuff. So he might not even want a website. So you got, that's an option too. He might not even want it, but here it is. The URL is already done, debostree.com. The SSL certificate will be live in 20 or 30 minutes, right? We host with 20i that they automate that process. And so that'll be ready to go. Just finished making it, and he'll be here later today. And I'll say, hey, here's your website. And in my mind, I already know, like, I'm not even going to charge him. I'm not going to charge him to build it. And I'm not going to charge him to host it for the first year. I'm just going to say, hey, it's yours for the next year. If you decide that you want to keep the website past the year, you can migrate it. You can take it wherever you want. You can do whatever you want with the website. I'll take care of it for the first year, but it's yours. It's yours. If you want to move it, you can move it. If you decide that you want to keep it with me, all you got to do is pay for hosting and maintenance, and we'll keep the package live. And that, to me, that's professional courtesy. Some of you are going to think I'm crazy. Some of you are going to think I'm nuts. Okay, but here I am in this small town. We moved here in 2023. My bills are 65% of what they were in California. I keep saying it over and over again because it's true. So I don't have to squeak out every dollar from every keystroke. I just don't have to. And I'm older now, and I can pay it forward. I can afford to pay it forward. We're not wealthy. I still don't have a Corvette and a Ducati in the driveway. It's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is, there's some cushion. There's a little bit of padding left. And so when I can use my skill set to help the repair center, to help the tree guy, to create a social community website for our local community. I have a site called livinghutch.com, and we've got a couple of, discussion portals and stuff like that in there, right? We basically use Fluent Community for that. Actually, no, that one's a Buddy Boss site. Almost forgot. That one's a Buddy Boss site. And so it is, James, you're such a sweet person. James says, I need to copy Kurt's words, always with the sharp tongue. I just feel like we have people in digital spaces. We have this ability. We can create things that other people either don't have the capacity to, or if they did, it would take them an inordinately, long period of time to build what they need. Dwight doesn't want to make websites. Dwight wants to climb trees. Think about when I met him. When I met him, he saw my tree and he goes, ooh, I'd like to climb that tree. Okay. That dude is not going to build a website. He's just not going to, right? But I can do it, and I can do it quickly. And if I can do it quickly and gift somebody something that helps them build their business and feed their family, that to me is very, very rewarding. Now, I want to cover something else with you. And this is going to sound a little bit weird or maybe a little disconnected today, but I met with a customer yesterday. I'm not going to divulge, really who she is because I don't think that's fair. But we meet, and I'm working on her website. She's already paid for the website because everyone with Mañana No Mas prepays for services. I always say that because I want to make sure that other people that run agencies kind of pick up the pace on this. So she's already paid for the website. I developed the first, sample website for her, and she didn't like it. There's nothing wrong with not liking it. I tell people all the time, if you don't like it, just tell me you don't like it. Like, digital material is subjective. It's art. If you don't like my art, let's have a discussion about how you would like the art. And so it turned out I thought that her product would look best on a dark background. Now that's ironic because I hate dark mode. Oh, is that my guy? No, he's not here yet. Um, I hate dark mode. I can't see stuff properly in it, stuff like that. But she is going to display images on the website that I thought would look better, would pop better, have more pop and sizzle on a dark background. And when I showed her the sample, she was really confused because she just didn't like it. And she is not an IT person either, right? So she thought everything would have to get like rebuilt. Well, we met at a coffee shop and I said, look, let's just strip the dark mode out of here. Let's show you what the site would look like if it was brighter. She's comparing this project to competitors' projects. And all the competitors' projects have like this crazy, like really poorly designed, washed out light background with light images with, I mean, just not pretty websites. They're not well done. But they're selling a lot of product. And so she's like, if they're selling a lot of product, I want to duplicate what they're doing and I want it. And I said, so you want it to look bad? Like this is atrocious design. But if this is what you want, we can do this. Sidebar. So I tell her, I'm a consultant. I give you my advice. In the end, you're the customer. I build what you want. So if you want what I feel is atrocious, you just got to tell me, hey, build that atrocious thing. I'll build it for you. It might not be the way I want it. Maybe 30, 60, 90 days in, you tell me you want to revert back to something. You want to make a change. We can do that because your package covers those types of changes. So really clear, like I'm not so invested in our designs or our inclinations that I'm inflexible with people. I'm going to give her what she wants. So I show her how easy it is that I can change the background. She goes, oh, okay, so you can change. Yeah, I can change it. She wants to change like what's used as the homepage. She wants people to see the store before they see the rest of the website. Whereas I was like, land on a homepage, services, and about us section, and then go to the store. Once you've built some kind of trust or once you've built relationship with people, hit them with the store, right? And she's like, no, all these other sites, just go right to a store. Okay, you want to go right to a store? We can go right to a store. Neither here nor there. We meet, we get it figured out. I figure out what she wants. But as I'm figuring out what she wants, I'm learning of some obstacles, not with the website, obstacles with, small business administration, things. I could tell it was weighing her down. And then at the end of our meeting, I said, hey, oh, by the way, we were at a coffee shop and a couple of the kids from the college group walked by. And I love these kids. Cade walked by and he's from Challenge and he was with someone I didn't know. And I said, hey, you in here doing the work? Cade will take people to the coffee shop and he will share the Roman road with them and lead them to Christ right in the coffee shop. And so I was like, hey, Cade, are you doing work in here right now? And he's like, oh, brother, always working. And, and I fist bump him and then I meet the new guy and I go, hey, you on the team? And he goes, no, I'm not on the team. He thought football because Cade plays football. And I said, dude, I'm not talking about ball. I'm talking about the other team. And he goes, oh, I'm saved. Right. And so we're high fiving and fist bumping. I told him to have a nice day. My customer, she seemed fine, with me saying hi to people. So it was totally cool. But at the end of our conversation, I asked her, I said, hey, are you a person of faith? And she said, well, yeah, I am. And I said, well, would you be uncomfortable or or not, if we were to pray together about the things that are bothering you? And she said, well, that would be wonderful. And so we prayed right there in the coffee shop. Boom. We prayed right there. You might think, well, what's God going to do? Right. Like, are, I think a lot of people that aren't in a faith category, they're like, well, that doesn't even make any sense. What's that going to do? It does a lot of things. It builds a relationship. It lets people know that you're empathetic. You get a better insight as to what your customers need. And for me to pray with people, I think is just a very natural thing. And now I've noticed 80% of my customers that I have right now, I pray with. And I think that's so weird, because 10 years ago, that was not the case. 10 years ago, I don't think I would have had the courage to say, oh, hey, do you want to pray with me right now? But now we are. So it's a really cool deal. That was fun. And again, I take that back to professional courtesy. If I knew they were not Christian, if I knew that they were Wiccan or atheist, I wouldn't say, hey, can I pray with you? Right. Like if we had a conversation and I knew I don't want to offend people, I'm not here to offend, but if people are people of faith, I'm going to pray with them. So I think that's fun. Now, James here says, I'm working with a client who has more questions about business than their website. James, that was the entire journey for Mañana No Mas when we launched. I was bringing in people left and right, asking me like, how do I get the labels made for my jars of salsa? How do I increase my sales? How do I hire a distributor? How should I get my food into the grocery stores? How should, and I was charging them for a website. And this is why the energy of Mañana No Mas has changed so much. I'm on a project right now. And again, I don't want to give too many particulars out on a live talk, but I'm on a project right now where building the website, and I'm going to use round numbers, right? Let's say building the website is $10,000. So we say, okay, I'm going to build a website, it's 10 grand. And then we say, okay, we're going to add this, this, and this. That's another $2,000 or $3,000 to whatever that package is. But then hosting and maintenance, that's going to be $300 a month. And I'm just throwing some numbers out, right? So boom, boom, boom. But then it gets to, you want help, like how to promote, how to do, you want me to be on weekly Zoom meetings. You want me, okay, we can do that. $2,800 a month, because we are a business consultancy and our product is usually in the form of a website. So I changed that verbiage 3-4 years ago. And it was kind of hard for people to wrap their heads around it. People that were agencies, it's hard for them to wrap their heads around it, because agency people think they're selling websites. You're not selling a website. You're selling your knowledge. You're selling your information. You're selling your business know-how. In order for you to build an equitable website in a business framework, you need to understand their business. So you need to know, what do they make? How do they distribute it? How do they sell it? How do they hire people? How do they train people? You need to know all those things about their business if you're going to make a really great website for their business. You need to know who their avatar is. Who are they trying to sell to? And so you're building this, like this business portfolio in your head as you're working with them to build the website. Again, you sold the website because the website is your product, but that's not really your product. Your real product is what you're consulting with, what you're helping that business work through. In a lot of cases, it's coaching. I'm going to drive you back to the conversation I had last night with this customer of mine. She was talking like, well, this is getting frustrating, and sometimes I feel I just want to give up. So, well, you can't give up. I said, you've already ordered inventory, right? You've got inventory coming from overseas. So you've already got inventory, okay? And you've already paid me. And I'm really upfront about this, right? I go, you've already got inventory coming, and you've already paid me. So you can't quit. Like, you've already made a commitment, because you've already spent the money with me. You don't get that money back. And you've already got inventory coming. So even if you return the inventory, you're going to have a restocking fee and shipping to pay, which doesn't make sense. And she's launching her business at the state fair. So I'm like, you've already got your booth paid for at the state fair, right? And she goes, yeah. I go, so you've already paid for the booth, you've already got inventory, and your website's going to launch on September 1st. I said, so there's no backing out. At this stage of the game, what you need to do is, regardless of your emotions, regardless of your feelings and your emotions, right? Because that's what happens to people, right? You need to go with what you know. And what you know is you've already paid for a booth, you're going to have a website, and you've already got product. So you need to give yourself a 3-month commitment. This is the conversation I had with her last night. Very, very clear, very plain as day. You need to give yourself a 3-month commitment. I don't care if you put X's on every day because you begrudge it and you hate it, or if you get excited about it. This isn't about your feelings, and it isn't about your emotions or things like that. It's, you have to execute. So I need you to put 100% into execution for 3 months. And at the end of the 3 months, if you don't sell any of the inventory, well, then it's a failure, right? If you don't sell anything after 3 months, after giving it a real effort, if you don't sell anything, it's a failure. Send stuff back, lock it down, and sometimes you win, sometimes you'll learn, right? But if after 3 months you've sold through half of your product and you get to replenish inventory and keep going, your attitude and your emotions and your feelings are going to change. They're going to morph with the success. And when you have a demonstrable line of success, getting the next loan for inventory increase or for a storefront or for any of those things, that's going to be much easier. You're going to have the confidence of saying, hey, I've already got a record of success here. I need more funding for X, Y, and Z. Whereas right now you're having a problem with funding, but you have nothing to show anybody yet. So you're you're an idea. Until you're an idea with success, coming across, funding is going to be more difficult. And so, like I said, we had that conversation, then we prayed together, and then she left. And the relationship I have with this customer, regardless of whether the website's great or it's not great, or I think it's ugly or does what she wants, regardless, I still have a great relationship with the customer. And whether she succeeds or fails, I have a great relationship with the customer. And that to me is the best thing. James says, feels like a CRM request now. And he says, I got my first church client, new territory for me. I think this is fun stuff. You want to know how to get the church. The church wants to know how to get the youth involved. It's such an interesting thing that you would come to me with that, James, because I was a youth pastor for a while. I ran a church college age group in Southern California right before we moved to Kansas. And that group struggled. Not going to lie, it struggled. I mean, we went through the pandemic together. So at one point we had like 30 kids, and then it got down to like 12 kids. And it was just hard to get people to show up, to be involved, to do things. And then I moved to Kansas, a small town in Kansas. And I thought, well, we'll have to find a church. Hopefully we can find a church that's active enough for my tastes. And we go to this church called Crosspoint. My son goes to youth night and there's like 80 kids there. Like, oh my goodness. And then I went to a college age night because I wanted to see what the college kids were doing. And the college age group had like, I think at the time, it was like 3 years ago, they had like 85 or 90 people there. I could not believe it. It was amazing. Now it's 3 years later. We have 130, 135 kids there every Monday night. I call them kids. They're adults, right? They're like 18 to 25. Like 135, 140 of them every Monday night. It is so phenomenal to see the growth there. But when I look at what my program in California did, and I look at the program that the church is exercising here in Hutchinson, Kansas, it's night and day. So when you say my church client wants to know how to get the youth involved, you just go. You got to go. You can't just say, oh, we're gonna invite youth in on Wednesday nights, open the doors, and pray that people show up. That's a lot of churches do that, and that's not going to work. What we do here in Hutchinson with this college age group is we go to the campus. We actually have prayer walks at the campus. We walk around, we meet people. On Monday mornings, they go over with donuts, dozens and dozens and dozens of donuts, and they give away donuts to anybody that wants a donut. They give away donuts. They pray with people. They share the Roman road. They invite people to come back Monday night for service, and that works. It's a big outreach, right? They have pickleball courts at the college, so we go to the college and we have pickleball tournaments at the college. We do barbecues and cookouts at the college. So we don't just serve at the church. We serve elsewhere, and then as the other kids show interest in things, we we help them express that interest. So, if you want to go bicycling, hey, we got like 5 guys here that go bicycling. You want to go fishing? We've got like 10 guys here that want to go fishing. And we try and encourage a little bit more community in that way. And when we create community in that way, it creates a stickiness and referral and brings in more people. We also don't really focus on the giving. We don't like harass them or pass the plate as it were at these events with the youth. We very much look at it like we're there for them. This is the mission, and if they choose to give, that's up to them, right? We also involve them in adult services. So when church is having corporate church Saturday nights and Sundays, we encourage our group to be involved with big church and say, hey, we need greeters. We need people to work at the coffee station. We need people to be ushers. Would you be willing to? And we try to integrate that group with the formal church instead of trying to always keep it separate, right? Because a lot of churches are segmented between like youth. So there's usually youth, high school, college group. Then there's like usually a young adults or singles group. And then there's small groups for, families and stuff. And so this particular church does a really wonderful job of incorporating the ability for everybody to work with other groups within the systems. And I think that helps community and helps it grow. I got a lot of advice on this stuff. Now, I have friends that I meet with every 2 weeks that are part of an accountability group, and they're very much of the simple church mindset. I have a book called Simple Church right there. They're very much of the simple church mindset. Like they're all about home churches and simple church, name of the book. But they're all like, they're not into the corporate church experience like I am. I'm the outlier in that group because I like being part of a larger church that is community based. Like, I think that's really important. Other people like the idea of like home church. So you have to figure out who you're doing business with, James. If you're working with a really small church and they're just launching their youth program now, the biggest thing to get with them is like, hey, what does your youth group really want to do? If it grew, what do you think they'd want to do? And how can you incorporate that youth group to make them feel like they belong and part of the overall church family? And it becomes part of like association, relationship, and a sense of belonging. And so if you can create that, you're going to be able to grow. He says, James again, it's so true. My mindset for business changed after 8 months in. That, James, I know you're referring back to what I was talking about with my customer last night. I can't agree more. I can't. Regardless of emotion, regardless of your feelings, it's the feelings that gets to me sometimes, right? People will say, oh, I just don't feel. Okay. That's like when people say, oh, well, my truth. No, you don't have a truth. There is the truth, right? There's the truth. And then there's your feelings about the truth. And so it's very important to me, especially with business startups. I have this conversation a lot where they get frustrated. There's an obstacle and they get frustrated and they want to give up. And I'm like, you can't give up. You can't give up. You know what? Pick a date on the calendar. Just pick a date. 2 months, 3 months, 6 months. Pick a date. And no matter what, you're going to give it 100% until that date. Good, bad, indifferent. You're just going to do. You're just going to execute. And as long as you can be disciplined, and you can execute, you're going to give yourself an opportunity for success. And if you experience that success within that time frame, great, Bob's your uncle. Move on to the next thing, pick the next goal. If you experience failure after truly giving it effort, after truly executing, if you still fail, well, then that's an experience for sometimes you win, sometimes you learn, right? And like I said to this customer last night, she goes, "Would this be so expensive?" I said, "No, it's not." And she was like, "What do you mean?" And I said, "The education you're giving yourself right now is cheaper than a college degree that you'll never use. Like, you're trying something, you're experimenting with something, even if you lose $10,000. You think $10,000 is a lot of money, but if you learn something from it, 10 grand is still cheaper than a college degree that you would never use." So uh, we've always got to find a way to find opportunities within the obstacles, look for that silver lining that's in those clouds, and get moving. Now, I had no idea I'd talk this long. And you know what? It's all James's fault. James, I love you, brother. We've got to get together on a Zoom call again and just catch up face to face. Adam, if you're still here, same to you. Thank you for your support, folks. If you're watching the replay of this, or you've been quiet, you're not chiming in. I encourage you, like, share, follow. Always looking for referrals. Manana Nomás is open for work. We've got space available, especially if you're looking to migrate an e-learning platform to something that's more modern and cost effective. I'd love to talk to you. We are open for another e-learning project right now. We're just now finishing up a really big project we are doing for a university. This project's got when we finish this up, it's going to have well over 1,000 videos in it. It's a lot of fun. I just went over a whole CRM build and automations and everything with the client this week. They're really happy, but that means we're really close to launch, which means we're opening up the availability to do another larger project. So if you've got that available, send it over. We'd love to quote it and take a look at it. And with that, folks, I'm going to go. Have yourself a wonderful day. Enjoy the rest of your week. And I'll catch up to you soon. I'll do another one of these lives real soon, because I got to let you know about my foot and how I got 5th place in the downhill and 7th place in the marathon race with a dang near broken foot. Talk to y'all later. Have a great day. Bye-bye.